Welcome to Main Game, a proudly Malaysian-made TV show about the wonderful world of video game and the people who make them. I'm your host Ifa, and joining me yet again is our eSport expert from Kakuchopurei,
Lewis Larkham. We have quite an episode for you this week. We'll be talking about people pretending to be video game characters in public areas. Local cosplayers, mind you. And this lovely country is getting the spotlight in different video games throughout the years in spirit of August, as it's the country's Independence Month.
I am already feeling a lot of Malaysian pride in this episode, so let's not waste any time and get on with our first segment of the day, which is Lowdown. Our first segment is going to be a deep dive in one of Malaysia's more prominent game studios. We're talking made in Malaysia, not an offshoot. So Luis, maybe you can list some number of gaming studios in Malaysia.
Well, apart from the one that we're going to be talking about later, off the top of my head, there's a couple. We have Double 11, who we've spoken about in a previous episode, PlayStation Malaysia, Lemon Sky Studios, Streamline Studios, Metronomic, Virtuous Kuala Lumpur, and Persona Theory.
Now, that's quite a number, though there is that stigma where Malaysia is the place you least expect when it comes to video game creation.
That's far from the truth. Unlikely, yes, but in getting the job done, from indie games that tell their harrowing stories to contributing to the production of games with insane $200 million marketing and development costs. Yes, we're definitely one of the more varied gaming development groups in the Southeast Asian region.
Awesome. Without further ado, let's take a look at our focus of today's show, Passion Republic Games.
Malaysia is an unlikely hub for video games, but Passion Republic is on a mission to flip the script. This Malaysian studio, driven to redefine norms, has made waves assisting on other numerous AAA titles and even 2022's Game of the Year. But they're no mere followers, as they released their very own IP, Gigabash, last year in 2022. That's quite the resume. But it does beg the question, how did Passion Republic get here? You don't just develop and publish your own game and work on a Game of the Year overnight. Well, why don't we hear it from the founder himself?
So our team started back in 2009. Back then, the landscape in Malaysia were lack of opportunities and acknowledgement, basically. So a lot of the young artists will need to flee the country for better opportunities. So that became one of the major problems for Malaysia to retain our talents. So I started the team from education or educator background without any business planning in mind, and the hope is to really build a community that could create opportunity rather than, waiting for the opportunities to happen.
CERN's commitment to cultivating a thriving creative ecosystem in Malaysia is at the core of Passion Republic's identity. He expresses gratitude for the team members who made the choice to remain in Malaysia, contributing to the development of a robust and self-sustaining environment for game creation. This decision to stay and work locally, rather than seeking opportunities abroad, is a testament to their belief in the potential that Malaysia has to offer.
I'm grateful that many of our teammates chose to be in Malaysia, staying back in Malaysia to create a more solid ecosystem rather than going abroad to pursue other opportunities.
The essence of Passion Republic's success story goes beyond just its impressive game titles. It's rooted in a fundamental principle that places the team at the forefront. Mel Lau, co-director of Gigabash, sheds light on this ethos that has been the cornerstone of this studio's journey.
Yeah, so Passion Republic's main principle is we are a team-first team, right? So we focus on nurturing our team, when we believe in having a good team leads to good product.
If you're an aspiring Malaysian game developer or artist, here's a glimpse into what Passion Republic looks for when considering new candidates to join their ranks.
The main thing is we want to find someone that is, have the same values as us, that is a team player, and on top of that, you kind of have to have a good skill set. But also resilient. Like, for example, the game that we created kind of took us about 4 to 5 years to make. So that's one of the reasons why when we're hiring someone, we want someone that is resilient, that can, like work on something and can pour in the passion into a project for many, many years.
Aiken To, the other co-director of Gigabash, further elaborates.
My experience, I'm as a designer, when it comes to creating a character, we need to work on the character abilities, and then we have to involve different players to work on the playtest the character, because we need to work on the character balancing. So that's why this process is a very long process. It takes a lot of time and patience and resilience and determination to go through this entire process.
Speaking of time and patience, it's taken 14 years for Passion Republic to cement themselves into the Malaysian gaming industry, to a point where they are creators of opportunities, and they don't seem to be stopping anytime soon. So you may be curious about what their industry plans are for the future.
Definitely, we just wanted to continue to nurture the community, because I could recall that in the past, when our young talent were telling us that there is lack of opportunity in Malaysia, we always think of how ready we are to take in all this opportunity.
Passion Republic's rise from an unlikely hub to a creator of opportunities showcases the power of resilience and a team-first philosophy. Their journey redefines industry norms, inspiring aspiring creators to believe in their potential. With a thriving local ecosystem, they continue to shape the Malaysian gaming landscape, proving that determination can yield remarkable outcomes. Passion Republic's impact is ongoing, and their story is a beacon of possibility, not only in the gaming world, but in Malaysia as a whole.
That was your deep dive into one of Malaysia's finest video game studios, Passion Republic. So, Luis, you were at the company's office. How was that like?
Honestly, it was just super impressive. Their interior focuses on a Scandinavian cross-Japanese aesthetic, which was just awe-inspiring. The facility was super spacious too, and I'm just honestly really jealous. I'd also like to give a big thank you to Passion Republic for giving us the honor to showcase their studio on this giant kaiju-sized platform like this.
All right, let's also talk about their homemade title, Gigabash. Would you like to, remind our viewers what the game is and how they can get it?
Well, Gigabash isn't just your run-of-the-mill game. It's a multiplayer arena brawler that kicks things up a notch with colossal movie-inspired kaiju, heroes that practically jump off screen, mind-blowing special moves that'll make your jaw drop, and environments that are just asking to be wrecked. This game isn't just a game, it's a riot of destruction and excitement that's waiting for you to dive in. The game also features a DLC pack featuring Toho's Godzilla series. By the way, in the 5th episode of main game, we incorrectly mentioned Toei in our brief chat about kaijus and Godzilla. It's Toho, so apologies for that, it happens to the best of us. Anyways, Gigabash is out on all platforms such as PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch.
Great, so it's out for all consoles and on PC. It's so cool, to have a Malaysian game with 4-player competitive action readily available everywhere. We have plenty of action of our own to share with you when it comes to gaming and pop culture knowledge. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back after these commercials. We live in a world where we don't have to wait for 31st October to dress up as your favorite video game character. You just have to attend one of the many video game and anime conventions available in Southeast Asia for the remainder of 2023. Here's a look at the wonderful world of cosplay and its career prospects according to Malaysia's finest.
This called cosplay, the practice of dressing up as a character from a video game or anime. Here's a brief history of cosplay. It started out in 1877 when author Jules Verne sent out 700 plus invitations for a costume ball. Half of the attendees dressed up as characters from Verne's novels. If we're talking post-20th century stuff, the first instances of cosplay in a public event is the 1939 First World Science Fiction Convention in New York. In Japan, that all started in the 70s with the first Comic-Con convention in December 1975. And then it just evolved from there on out, with video game cosplay growing in popularity over time. Of course, role-playing as one of your heroes is a lot of hard work. Making your own outfit for authenticity, getting your characters' mannerisms and personalities down pat, and heading to the venue itself and put on a show for many enthusiasts with expensive cameras. All of this takes time and effort to master, which many professionals can attest to.
What it is like to cosplay in Malaysia would be you have to take into account the location and maybe the target audience when you're doing cosplay. So if you're in a public mall and it's not a paid entry, so I would try not to cosplay anything too revealing and do any actions that are, well, not publicly acceptable. If it's a paid event or it's then it will be slightly better because the crowd entering the hall would be, they know what they are going into when they are entering the hall. So it's slightly more freeing. Yes, but that doesn't mean you can go up to anybody and just sexually harass them. That is definitely not consensual.
This begs the question, can cosplaying be a full-time job? Well, we have seen various examples online if you search far and wide on social media platforms and content creation avenues like Patreon, and if you turn safe search options off. But the reality is,
I don't think it's possible to put cosplay as your full-time career. Unless if you take it as a hobby, you fake it till you make it. There's a motto for it. You fake it till you make it. You enjoy do cosplay until there is this one point you will achieve that goal. People will recognize you. It's speaking from my experience because I do cosplay as a hobby. I don't do it as a job because I have my own career that I've been focusing on, and also I have to rely on myself to pay my bills and expenses.
You should maybe try to do it as a part-time and get yourself a more permanent job just so that you can support yourself and the cosplay lifestyle, because the cosplay lifestyle is not cheap. Even if you're doing it all by yourself, you still need some budget. So definitely find a job that can support that. I have met a few people that has done cosplay full-time, but they are very, very big influencers and cosplayers. They get invited overseas, they get invited to every event. They earn their money through those.
passion should still be a drive when pursuing a hobby like cosplay. Here's some advice from these professionals for anyone willing to cosplay.
Always remember to love yourself, because I mostly get people who always feel they're not enough. They always feel insecure, and sometimes cosplaying is a way out. But at the same time, they will still feel insecure because of their size, their skin color. I cosplay characters who are fair and I'm dark as myself, but I always appreciate myself as long as it's you chose to who you want to cosplay.
I noticed a lot of newbies recently, when they join the cosplay community, they think that they have to get the latest cosplay at every anime convention. I would say my advice to you, just do the character that you love and you can rewear it. You don't have to keep buying new cosplays, especially if it's out of your budget. When I started cosplaying, my first cosplay, I think I wore it for at least 2-3 years. I do have other characters, but I keep going back to that one character that I love. And I kept improving it. I kept changing the accessories, I improved the wig, the makeup. Basically, use the time you're going to anime events as a way to improve yourself and showcase how you have improved that character.
Just cosplay what do you want to cosplay. If you love the character so much, like how I appreciate my own character, just go for it.
Now that sounds thoughtful. Are there any awesome conventions happening, Luis?
Yes, there are. First up, there's Animangaki. This is a major anime and video games convention which is happening from the 25th to the 27th of August at Mines Convention Center. It's going to feature tons of guest appearances like the studio that made Suzume and Your Name, Comics Way Films, and a VTuber showcase, fighting game tournaments, and a cosplay competition. The other one is Comic Fiesta 2023, which is happening from the 23rd to the 24th of December. It's going to take place at KLCC, and from my experience, Comic Fiesta is most well known for not only the similar things as Animangaki, but also esports tournaments.
Alright, okay, it sounds like the tail end of 2023 is packed with a lot of giant anime and gaming events. Better start gearing up and make out your outfits, because if you plan on cosplaying, in fact, I would like to start thinking of my very own. While I do that, we're going to cut to some commercials, so stay tuned, we'll be right back. And we are back. Now we're on to our final segment.
Hold up, Aoife. Over the commercials, you said that you made up your mind about who you would like to cosplay, so would you care to share?
Well, if it's anime, I go for Sailor Jupiter from Sailor Moon. She's pretty tough, I can pull off though. If it's solely a video game character, I would go for Aerith in Final Fantasy VII. So she's also streetwise, but in her own quote-unquote dainty flower girl way.
Ah yes, Final Fantasy characters, the go-to option for cosplayers in conventions, as the series has both gaming and anime fans by the feels.
Are we going to have a Final Fantasy episode sometimes, coming soon?
Well, we might in the future. We might also bring up the console which Final Fantasy VII came from in a future episode as well. But for now, let's keep to the theme and talk about Malaysian pride in video games.
Yes, we will. Our final segment is about the games that feature Malaysia as a backdrop and level. Take it away, Jonathan.
There are a number of video games that take place in or are based on real-life locations, like the ever-popular New York City, Los Angeles, and Tokyo. But rarely do you see other smaller countries, cities, or locations being a major point in a game's location, unless it's solely made up or is a hodgepodge of states and cities under one country. Believe it or not, our country of Malaysia has been in the in-game video game spotlight for quite a long while. It's a rare known fact, since there's no other awesome locally made TV show on public broadcasts that points this out. Until now. Let's begin. Agent 47 in Hitman 2 had to assassinate a high-profile target in Kuala Lumpur at one point in the 2002 sequel. And we must say, IO Interactive did a good job with the environments and level design. While the KL Twin Towers look nice and all, there are just a number of things lost in translation. The accents and slangs don't match up.
You're not authorized for access.
And the cops are wearing brown uniforms from the 70s. In 2010, the open-world sandbox in the grapple hook savvy action game Just Cause 2 is the fictional island of Penang. However, the island bears some resemblance to a mild Sarawakian coastal town like Muka, Miri, or parts of Outer Kuching, with places like Tanah Raya, Pulau Berapi, and Gunung Gila Pangkat. You know you're going into a fully voiced masterpiece containing a rojak of Malaysian, Indonesian, and Singaporean accents.
My name is Bolo Santosi. I think we do have a deal, comrade.
One of our special deliveries has been downed on a nearby island, lah.
One of Street Fighter V's 2D battle stages is Kanzuki Beach, which is set in Malaysia. In Street Fighter lore, this private beach estate is owned by Karin Kanzuki, a very rich businesswoman with a fierce fighting style and rival to series mainstay Sakura. She's also well known for this. In the esports circuit, this stage is banned because the water in the stage obscures ground projectiles. Not everyone remembered the Burnout games that came out in between Burnout 3 and Burnout Paradise, but a lot of Malaysians probably did during the PS2 twilight years. Why? Because the game's spiritual city courses are in fact based on Kuala Lumpur's Sultan Abdul Samad and Dataran Merdeka Square. KL's prime area is livingly recreated. The game also has the KL Twin Towers on display in the backdrop, only they're called the Spiritual Towers. Even the course's traffic contains Perodua Maivis and Canaries for you to wreak havoc upon. And those are but a few examples of Malaysian locations used in games. And not just half-baked name-dropping, like in that one AAA game with the snarky grave robbers. Join us next time for more Malaysia trivia and celebrations like these.
Wow, I honestly did not know there were that many games that featured Malaysia and its many landmarks like the Petronas Twin Towers and Dataran Merdeka.
Me neither, but which was your favorite?
I'll go with the, burnout-dominated spiritual city. Of course, I mean, that's such a lovely alternate name for Kuala Lumpur.
Yes, definitely a great choice. I would personally have to go with Hitman 2's Twin Tower stage. Just the fact that IO Interactive used the 70s police outfits in a game that was meant to be set in the 2000s is, well, pretty funny.
I know, right? In all seriousness, though, I do feel that there's a lot of Malaysia has offered in terms of creative levels, fun ideas for games and talented local game makers.
And I do feel that it's only going to get better moving forward. We have a couple more features for the next week focused on Malaysia for this month of independence, so be sure to tune in next week for that.
And thus we have arrived at the end of our show. I'm your host, Aoife.
And I'm Lewis from Kakuchopurei.
And thank you so much for watching. May you have a kaiju-sized pride and love for your country. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.